Today we're going to make healthy pumpkin energy bars. Only 215 calories each and 5 grams of protein. They are perfectly toteable, so you can take them as a snack anywhere. They're soft and chewy and moist, but they hold together and they're not sticky. They've got a little crunch from pepitas, a little bit of pumpkin pie spice. It just brings all those wonderful fall flavors to your snack or your breakfast. Let's get into it. So super easy, also healthy, so hooray. The first step, we're gonna do this all in a food processor. You kind of need a food processor. You could buy ground oats, like oatmeal, and then you could definitely mix it by hand, but you're gonna need to soften your dates in water and then kind of like puree it with an immersion blender or something. So these are options for you, but ideally food processor. So first we're gonna do our oats, and we really want these to be nice and finely ground. Right on. Let's make sure that there's no stragglers. I see some weird blurred ones that somehow escaped. Get them. All right. Now we're gonna add the rest of our ingredients. Super easy. We've got ourselves some dates. I use medjool dates. They're plumper, a little bit more caramely. I find the flavor a bit more pleasant. Totally up to you though. Kosher salt, pumpkin spice. This is for my recipe that's up there. Just make a big batch and then you can make all the things. Scones, pie, bars, coffee cake. I mean, it's just pumpkin spice, the bomb. All right, and then we've got wheat bran. Yes, get that fiber. And then we've got flax seeds. Flaxseed meal. So you can buy flax seeds and then grind them, probably in like a Vitaprep or something, or you can buy it pre-ground, which is what I do because like who's got time? All right, and then for the wet ingredients, we've got maple syrup. You could use agave or whatever sweetener that you like, but this is part of the liquid. So if you do omit this and you do a dry sweetener, then you're going to need to add water or something like that. This is coconut oil that's been melted. Again, part of your liquid, so that's kind of important. If you omit it, then you're going to need to replace it with something. Now we've got pumpkin puree. Yes, get in there. Okay, those are our mix-ins. We're gonna leave them right there. And then we're gonna start to mix this. Okay, and then we're gonna turn it on. You're gonna have to do a little pulse to get some of those that stuff on the top to fall down into the center. We could also just do it, excuse you, do it manually, because you want to make sure that you get a nice even paste, right? You don't want big chunks of dates or anything like that. You could process your dates first, but like, why bother? Okay, so go ahead and put this back on. So we're gonna add a little bit of water. It's going to help it move about, but it's also going to add a bit of moisture. A lot of that moisture is going to be evaporated, if you will, when we bake it in the oven. Okay. Oh, there we go, we're almost there. Now you could add a little bit more water. We're looking for it to kind of spiral about like this. Perfect. Awesome. So we've got ourselves a nice smooth paste in there, and we're feeling pretty proud of ourselves. And you should just taste it for seasoning or anything that you want. If you want a little bit more sweetness, you know, that's, you do you. All right, go ahead and pop this baby off and make sure you hold on to the blade or it will pop out, and if it does, then whatever. But we're gonna get this in a bowl and then we're gonna mix in our kind of crunchy and chewy and sweet bits. All right. Time for our mix-ins. So you can use whatever you'd like. Dried cherries are also phenomenal. I'm using raisins and salted roasted pepitas. If you don't want to use salted pepitas, or that's not what you have, then you might want to add a touch more salt to the dough. It's up to your preference though. But I do like to add like one kind of sweet, chewy thing and then one crunchy thing. That's my formula. So perfectly stated as well. Like, wow. Love it. So now your dough batter, whatever you want to call it, should look like this. It should be a little bit sticky, but not wet and loose. So the amount of water that you're going to need to add depends on your exact measurements of your oats and also how moist your dates were. So these are all key things that are going to impact the moisture content of your batter. So I've got myself an 8x8. You could also do a 9x9, and we're just going to line it. Now you could spray it if you like, but it's really not necessary. And but I am going to clip it down. This will help kind of keep the shape as it bakes, but also, keep the fan from blowing the, oh my gosh, wow, hands please function. It will also keep the fan from like blowing your parchment over top of your little bars. Healthy snacks are coming up, guys. All right, we are prepped, we're ready, like we're in it. Grab your batter, dough, whatever. Get it in your pan. I like to spread it out, obviously, kind of like everything else, where I don't want to spend like 30 minutes pressing this in here. Like, nobody has time for that. Everybody wants snacks now. And yeah, so also important to note that this does not have to be baked, right? It doesn't have to be baked. There's nothing in here that must be baked. This is to get a little bit of that moisture to evaporate. It is going to make it kind of hold in a bar shape. But you could certainly actually roll these into energy balls or bites, and you could just, they'll be fine. But I like these particular ones. I like to have them in like a bar form. It's just, I don't know, it's just nice, portable, toteable. Now I have preheated my oven to 325 degrees. It is convection. It does not have to be. There's just something already in there, and she needs it to be convection. So I'm sorry, I'm having a moment, and I just want the top of my bar to look a little prettier, so I am going to place and press some additional accoutrements. This is not necessary. This is only for you people who, like me, are a little beyond persnickety and maybe a little weird. I will be the first to admit it. Oh, hey. All right, be aware that also, like, it's, you're gonna bake it, so you don't want to like dry them out or anything. So I'm gonna press them in just a little bit. I'm gonna use my, I already washed my hands, so I don't feel like doing that. Use my spatula. This is just for a little texture and just a fun top element here. Into the oven, 325. I mean, we're only going to bake it until it looks a little bit matte. It doesn't look, kind of doughy anymore. It's only gonna take like 10 minutes. You don't want to over bake them, then they're dry and sad and really just, it's sad. So don't over bake them. We're gonna check them in 5 minutes because nothing bad can happen to them in 5 minutes. And they're out. They baked about 9 minutes until they felt kind of set and matte on the top. You don't want to over bake them again because it's just going to be too dry. So we are going to let these cool completely, and then I'm going to pop them out of the pan and we'll come. It's time to try. So let's go ahead and get these guys out of the pan and that much closer to being in my belly. Go ahead and grab a cutting board, and then we can just kind of pop them out like so. Perfect. Don't even have to wash our pan. So I usually kind of go in half this way, and then I cut each side into, you could do, it depends. I usually do 5, but it really depends on kind of how large you want them to be. But the yield in the recipe is, oh, I just did 6. Did I just do 6? Yeah, I did. Okay, cool. I can't count today. I was like, no, there's no way. Anyways, yield in the recipe is 10, so just go ahead and kind of cut them approximately. 5 is a hard one to cut, but I have full faith in you. You can do it. Okay, it's time to try. I just did, but it's fine. Don't judge me. So you can see that they are nice and they're like, you know, they hold their shape, right? But they're still soft. So they would hold up in a, you know, in a lunchbox or something. You might want to wrap them in wax paper or whatever you use, but they're ready to go. So pretty. Yum. It's soft and tender and moist. And you get a little crunch from the pepitas, a little soft chewiness from the raisins, and then you get that nice pumpkin spice, like warming kind of oaty bar. It is not overly sweet. It's just really delightful.